she's pitched it up a bit.
Has she? I like the way she sounds today.
Maybe it's
I think it might be
extra
might be the
Monday.
alcohol that's still in my system, but
It's affected your hearing, has it?
yeah, I think it's still floating around somewhere. I think I'm getting a little bit. The alcohol's starting to kick in. I'm getting a little bit more confident. Might just walk up and approach her.
Hang on a second. Don't cut my lunch.
Wait, what the fuck? Hey, you
No. Hey, wait. No. Don't cut my lunch.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
I think I might have said it one of the other weeks. I'm gonna find who this lady is. Who records this?
I've Googled. I can't find it.
I'll figure it out.
I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the glass table.
That's the play of the game. That is the play of the game. Time!
From the impossible angle, and he puts it through, and Portly.
Danger! Butler!
Get around him! Get around him!
Edge of the seat.
All right, episode, it's 15. 14, 15. Is it 15?
I think it's 15.
Hang on. 15.
We're in all
15.
sorts already. Good start.
Yeah, we're in all sorts. But welcome to episode 15. Jared Thomas.
Hello.
God, that was quick.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you were just going to say Jared, and then you said Thomas, and I was like, oh, fucking threw me off.
But the delay was almost perfect.
Look at that. We're in the same room.
We're just... You wish. Then we could, talk together with the stupid, sexy recording lady.
Oh, yeah. Oh, surely if we do another in-person thing, we have to just put in a recording in progress at the start anyway. That's not going to be on Zoom.
Oh, absolutely it is. I'll bring her with me.
Oh, yes. We'll just do a Zoom recording anyway. Just have...
I'll sit in one room and then you sit in the other room. And then we combine.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh my God, fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break.
It's like 16 walls.
16 walls. Like JT's house. Anyway, There's one thing before we start sharing recording ladies together. There's one thing we've got to sort out before we get into round 13, Coach's Award, and all the great stuff people like to listen to on this fantastic show we call The Glass Table. I don't like you at the moment, and there's a reason for it.
Okay.
It's because you and your stupid Victorian people have
I knew it was going to
decided
be this.
that Palmer is better than Palmy.
I tell you what.
51.1% compared to the 48.9%. Now, I don't like to criticize people that follow me or support me or watch the videos and stuff, but if you're listening and you haven't voted or you didn't vote, you disgust me. I shouldn't have lost that poll. This is my show on my channel. You're a guest.
Right. These polls on Twitter, they go for a day, obviously. That, the day when I woke up the next day and it had 10 hours left, 12 hours, I reckon I watched the poll all day.
I did too.
Just swapping, and I was like, holy shit, this is going to go down to the wire. I was like, oh my God.
Palmer was literally Collingwood in the last few seconds normally.
Yeah.
They just won.
It was odd.
Anyway, I don't think a stupid poll is going to convince me to change my opinion.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Doesn't matter. Wherever I go in Australia, I'm having a nice palmy.
Palmer is a great dinner choice.
I like the idea of having a palmy when I go out. You know what they don't have at the footy? A palmy.
Be nice. You get them in one of the bars. Oh, that'd be actually.
You get your fish and chips.
Mm.
Just have a palmy sitting on top of
I was gonna say they give you a box, a cardboard box, lay it with chips like they do, and then you just stick a schnitzel on top. Bit of cheese, tomato paste. Yeah, fucking gorgeous. Why not?
See?
Why wouldn't you?
Anyway, Coach's Award. Do you have one?
Yeah, I do actually. I think this might be my first one from the Saints. I haven't picked a Saints player yet because I felt a little bit, a little bit biased, whatever. But we'll obviously get to the game soon, which is very nice. We'll get to that.
Mm.
But this player, it's known that he's like good. Like he's not like one of those players where it's like he's not very good, but he had a good game kind of thing. He's known to be good, but this year I think he's flying under the radar as one of the better small forwards this year, and no one's really talking about him. That is Dan Butler. Now we'll get into a Dan Butler incident later, probably. Just a little bit. It's going to upset me a little bit. But this year, he has been really good. He's been up on all of his stats. He's averaging 2 tackles inside 50 a game, which is like he's a pressure forward. That is what he has to do. He doesn't kick all of our goals, but he is the one that is putting on all that pressure. We saw with that tackle on Blakey. He is constantly running around, and he is one of the better like defensive forwards that you can have. Where he like, and there was a point in the game as well where he did a massive smother and turned it back around, and has been really, really good for us this year. And he's done it every game. So Dan Butler's been one of our more consistent players. Higgins is one of the ones that can bog up. He can kick 5, but he can also not touch the ball. Dan Butler is one that will constantly be there providing for us, doing what he needs to do. So Dan Butler is my coach's award this week because he has been the one.
Interesting, because I would have thought some people would have actually said that Butler hasn't had a phenomenal year, but I reckon those are the people that are basing it on his goal tally.
That's the thing. So, like, you look at like that 2020 year where he almost like made the All-Australian team kind of thing. He obviously he hasn't kicked as many goals as that. People just immediately think he's not as good. But in every other stat, he's averaging more disposals than ever, more tackles, more, like he's actually averaging more goals than he's over his career. So, like, he is fine. He's doing everything he needs to do as a small forward. He's above average or elite in everything. All his main stats. Dan Butler, having a great year.
Well done, Dan. He kicked off round 13 in style as well, with St Kilda getting the job done. Before we get into it, just quickly, as a whole, round 13, how would you describe it?
I don't even know like how to describe it.
I'm
Like,
glad you said this because I feel the same way.
Perfect way to describe it.
I don't know how to. In one word, you just put IDK.
It's just that.
Oh, little emoji that's just.
Yeah, because like there was some results where you're like, that's expected. That's a fair enough one. And then there's some where you're like, yeah, that's a bit weird. What's happened?
Oh, it baffled me. But the Thursday night game, considering we're doing this on a Monday night and it'll be coming out on a Tuesday, the first game of the round was on a Thursday. We're covering all days here. But essentially, Thursday night footy was back. And after the first quarter, I thought, get rid of it. But in the end, St Kilda did the job against the Swans and firmed their top 6 chances and pretty much killed any hope of Sydney making the top 8.
Yeah, that felt nice, didn't it? I like excuse the South Melbourne jumper in the back. but like the thing about this game, right? So for most of this year, we St Kilda play really shit football. It's so obvious, right? We play really bad, but like for most of this year, I was kind of on it being like we need to be playing good football to be able to win games of footy. I've now decided we don't have to do that. We can keep playing shit games of football because we drag every single team that we play right fucking down with us. We play some scrappy shit, but the thing that matters is that other teams play scrappy too, and it hurts them. Sydney didn't want to play the game that we played on Thursday.
No, they didn't, and it was quite funny.
Yeah,
Very
people were talking
funny.
about that first quarter, it was 7-0 at the quarter time. Now, for most people, it's a bad game of footy, and I'm not going to say it's not. It's a bad game of footy. However, we kept a team scoreless at home for a quarter.
Yeah. Look, if I'm advertising to people around the world what AFL is, I'm not showing them anything to do with St Kilda.
No, you're not showing that game or any of our games.
No. Well, one. Round 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, to be too fair, that was an okay game. So it's like it's fine.
Well, the thing is, though, with the Saints, I think it's more the basis of that last quarter is probably the definition of how St Kilda have played this year.
That's the way we want to play. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been attacking on the scoreboard in a way where they make the opponents suffer, but also they are able to shut down anything that, for example, Sydney could process. And it was very, very good to watch that last quarter compared to the first one. It was very, I don't know, covered all moods of football Thursday night.
And like that last quarter, is how we pretty much played up until like gather round, Carlton, kind of like that deal. Like that was how we played, where we just suffocated them defensively to the point they made mistakes and just couldn't do anything, and then we just got them on the counter every single time. And like that is how we played the first how many rounds. That's how we won so many games at the start of the year. So like the fact that we brought that back, not even for like the last quarter, like that last half, just in general, we were really good. And especially the last quarter, we had those players come back, and I think as well, like Max King, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, he's good, right? Like it's amazing having him back. He's kicked 11 in his 3 games back. But also having him, having him and Mitch Owens in the same forward line, it is giving me life. I'm like that is exactly what I want to see, because like people still don't really know how to deal with Mitch Owens because he's he's kind of a midfielder because he can run and he's quick and he can jump and he can do everything, but he's also just a key forward. And it's nice.
21 touches, 2 goals, 2 on a night where goals were hard to come by early. And he's ended up snagging 2, had 21, 490 metres gained. That's a real hybrid operation.
Yeah.
Going
on. And he's obviously not like that level of like Jeremy Cameron. But like Jeremy Cameron can move up the ground and can kind of get touches and then go back and kick goals. Mitch Owens is starting to do that thing where he can move up the ground, get the ball, but he also is very dangerous in front of goal, to the point where like you have to have somebody on him at all times, because it's like he could be anywhere on the field and either sort, no matter where he is. So dangerous for Owens.
Totally enjoying the happiness coming out of the screen I'm watching at the moment. It's very vibrant. Do you know what was also vibrant?
Mm-hmm.
Was watching a lizard go to ground. Dan Butler, that tackle. If that gets done, I swear to God, ban the tackle, because I don't want anything to do with this sport when it comes to tackling anymore. The round in general, it's just been terrible. But if this is what the standard we're going with, I want my subs back.
That tackle, right? Everyone, like the people are like, yeah, he's getting suspended because he hit the ground. First off, right, didn't get taken off for HIA. He passed his HIA. He just got taken off because he had a sore foot or toe, whatever it was, and they didn't want to risk him again. So that should go well for Dan working on field, which is a week. 2, the only reason Blakey's head hits the ground is because he thinks he's in the clear and he's not. He's running very just like whatever, looking up, trying to just thinking he's free. Because Dan hits him so hard and he doesn't expect it, that's why his head hits the ground. But it's nothing that Dan does puts him into the ground.
Do you know what the problem is? They set the standard with the Tom Jonas tackle a few weeks back, and it's just hurt everyone since. It's the same. We'll get to the Sicily one as well. He'll probably get done for that.
There was a Merritt one last night that's probably going to get done. It's just...
You can't have players getting done for a week for something like that.
It's accidents. And I understand they're trying to stamp out like injuries and stuff like that. Like they're trying to protect the players, and that is completely fine. When they are actively slamming them to the ground, then that's fine, right? When something like the Dan Butler one happens, where he has not even attempted to sling him or do anything like that, he's literally doing a tackle that you are taught from under nines, from Auskick all the way through, where you pin the arms, you drive him to the ground. That is what you get taught. He didn't get him in the back, nothing like that. And he's still going to get suspended for it. It is going to ruin the game if they don't fix it in some way.
They somehow nullified the bump aspect of that conversation. And I think they're starting to get that right. But if they go down this road, they're going to get this so wrong. Players are going to be too scared to tackle. I think football's dying if that's the case.
They had an issue a few years ago where it was like the bump is dead kind of thing, but they ended up fixing it and going back and being like, okay, the bump isn't really dead. It's still a thing. Like, just don't hit them high. And that's fair enough. These tackle things, though, you've really got to walk the line between looking after the players and ruining the game. Like, you have to like make sure that the slinging motion and things like that, where you dump him to the ground, it's fine. Suspend them. The thing like Butler does, why would you?
I don't know. I don't know. I could talk about it all day.
Look at us getting all serious. This is fantastic.
Weird.
You know, it's a bad call, right? When even my own mother is like, geez, that's a bit stiff.
That's a bit stiff.
She was like, oh, you're allowed to do that, aren't you? And I was like, yes, Jenny, you are. So I don't know what is happening.
Maybe we should get Jenny on as just a
We'll get Jenny
Just
on.
an expert analysis. That's a bit stiff.
Mum today was like, "Where's Melbourne on the ladder?" Oh dear.
Oh, what's the scene in Hot Fuzz? How's the hand? Still a bit stiff. How's the tackle? Still a bit stiff.
It's
Let's go to Friday night.
Yes.
You know what's the great thing about Friday night is? Technically not really the weekend, which means both our teams won before we even hit the weekend.
How good. Set the
Last half
tone.
was rocking, baby. Port Adelaide, 22-point winners. Friday night football. This was a fucking unbelievable game. And I will swear with that because watching this, I was tense for 4 quarters. Port Adelaide to me, and I'm going to be biased because it's me.
Yep.
This was the most professional performance of Port Adelaide's year to date.
I think this one was really good in that Port were up in the last quarter, were getting challenged by a doggy side that were looking okay, and they still just held firm, did what they had to do, got the job done. Dubious free kick at the end, but it's fine. Like Port had that going for them. But like in terms of professional, they held on. Like the Dogs were charging, and like they were always going to. But Port held firm that whole last 10 minutes. They did what they needed to do. Zach Butters is still the best player in the AFL right now. Like he's on form, the best player in the AFL right now. Like it's ridiculous what he is doing. But like, yeah, Port held on really well.
I love that Butters is just, he knows he's good, but he's got a lid on it in a way where he can get into he's got into Liver's face, took what Liver had and said, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to win this game of football now.
Yeah.
See you later.
Like, Butters has that good amount of confidence where he doesn't have to say that he's good. He doesn't have to boast about it, but he knows it by the way that he plays his football. Like he knows that he can stand somewhere, look like 50 meters on a 45 and be like, I can hit that kick because I'm Zach Butters. But he just does it in his own head. He doesn't have to do any showboaty shit. He just does it. And it's like because he's got so much confidence in himself at the moment. And I love Zach Butters.
You know what's great? And I know exactly what you're talking about. That kick, I think it was in the last quarter. He had a kick inside, outside of the foot, hit Boak on the chest, on the run. Boak was running flat out.
Yeah, over the top of Boak as well. Oh, like he just does it. And it's those games, it's those sorts of things where it's like, that's where his confidence is, but he doesn't have to say it. And he just keeps running like nothing's happened. But everyone knows.
That game had the best passage of play I've seen in football this year was when Bontempelli was swinging onto his left. Willem Drews smothered it. It's gone to Butters. He's taken on Liver, got around him. Then he's drawn about 2 doggies players in. Handball to Drews, followed it up, banged it inside 50. 1-on-1 with Rioli. Then it was a contest. And then Horn Francis has decided to go, I'll open the DRS, son, and take on about 4 doggies with that fucking pickup. And then again. Straightened, had all the time in the world, and the kick was as straight as anything.
That's the thing. When he picked it up, it was like the Doggies players just kind of stopped and went, fucking that.
Is that what's happening? That's right in front of me. He's done that twice this year now, that pickup.
Oh, that first one. That first one to me is still better, like the one in the wet. Like that is still to me the essential pickup because it was like just the timing of it all and the conditions. I'm never going to stop talking about that pickup, but like he's done it again and he's very good on Francis.
The ice cream scoop.
Yeah.
The one they use at the shop and they just.
Yep. Thank you. Handball to Rosie. No worries.
Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Other than that, just a solid game. Do you want to talk about that free kick or are you content with it?
Like I don't know if it cost the Dogs the game. Like I don't think it cost the Dogs the game. Like I don't think, but it was the wrong call. Like you're allowed to shepherd the ball. There wasn't a marking contest, so
depends. Like the only thing I reckon why it's okay to be called is because in the end, Oscar Baker has literally charged through Ollie Wines.
Yeah, no, I know. In terms of that, like that's whatever. But I think in terms of like how they've officiated it, if the ball is going over the line like that, like it's going to go over. Like it's like you can't really call it. And they never call that. Like, that has never been
No.
called in the history of the league. So, like, I don't know. It was interesting. I didn't
Couldn't have happened to a better bloke though. Like, get stuffed, Cody Waitman. You little gremlin.
Cody Waitman and Port. Oh, dear.
It turns up once or twice a year, and it's against us.
I actually completely forgot that you've already played them this year.
You gather round.
Yeah, I've just remembered that. I was like, oh, yeah, these two teams have played before. Yeah, right.
That's because after gather round that night, we ended up getting so cordialized that we forget about
I
it.
probably forgot the game was on.
Oh, I definitely forgot. So we only played them 8 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. Is this the first? This might be the first, like, double up. Is it the first double up?
Could be. Oh, that's a very good question. One I did not research for.
Good question for the audience if they want to look it up. They can look it
Let
up.
us know. You know where we
Let
are.
us know. Tweet at us, please, whoever's going to look it up.
Just tell us something about it. Let's go to the upset of the round.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Hawks beat the Lions, and I said last week if it was in Tassie, I would have tipped them.
Yeah. Should have just tipped them.
Yeah, I should have. The Lions, a little bit of jet lag, a little bit scared of a plane, are we, little roars, are we?
Oh, man.
What's going
Right.
on? Little puppy dogs? Can't get on a plane, can we?
A few things about this game.
Go Gabba Gabba.
This win by Hawthorn makes me feel a lot better about losing to them.
Just choked on water.
Because they actually look good. Like, they look pretty good. So it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, maybe Hawthorn are better than people expect. Maybe that loss to Hawthorn was okay by us. So that's one thing that makes me happy.
Mhm.
Second, I put out a tweet after this being like, what is it with Adelaide and Brisbane and not being able to travel?
Yeah.
Went bonkers for one. And I had a lot of people being like, yeah, I know. I had a lot of people being like, it was really funny because like I put Adelaide and Brisbane in there, and they're obviously very different teams. Adelaide's very young and they're very inexperienced. So it's kind of understandable they lose games. And also, like, they haven't lost that many. It's like they lose to the G and they lost to Geelong in Geelong, which is hard. So that's fine. Well, Adelaide might be a bit harsh, but Brisbane, like, everyone that replied to it was like, oh, Adelaide are a bit stiff. Brisbane, though, they suck. It's just like, what's wrong with Brisbane?
Seriously though, they are.
I've been to a few Brisbane games this year where, like, I went to that one at Marvel where they played the Dogs and looked horrid. Didn't they lose to you guys by like 70 something or whatever it was?
Yeah, 60 points. They lost.
Yeah, at Adelaide Oval. They have lost this one to Hawthorn. Like, they just, that team at the Gabba compared to anywhere else is odd.
I know. It's why they're probably one of the. I'm gonna say it. They're one of the worst top 4 teams going around.
Yeah, they're not like. Like, people are
10
really on the lines, and I'm like, I don't see it that like other people do. Like, I think it's because, and it's still that Bulldogs game in my head. I watched how bad they were in person, and I was like, fuck, the Lions are not good. And I said after that game, I should have stuck with it. I said, I won't tip the Lions away from home ever again. And I backtracked on it, but I should have just stuck with it because I would have got more tips right if I did that.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough too, because if we didn't believe it's like believing in Carlton at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't anymore.
No one does.
I think we're pretty much labeling a free kick from every game at the moment that sucks. But the suspension for potentially of James Sicily, no.
Yeah, like, here's my thing with that one. The tackle itself is okay. Like, the tackle's fine. It's what they're gonna get a suspension on. The thing that fucks him though is the fact that he pushes him down when his head's already under him.
Why are you doing that, James?
Yeah, James, mate, stop being a dickhead.
You're the captain. What are you doing?
Stop being a dickhead though. I think that's what gets him. Like, if it was just the tackle, he might have been okay. But it's the fact that he then pushes him. I'm like, oh, you make it hard to defend you sometimes. And he just got back from a suspension.
I know. He's had a 41 disposal game, had a week off, come back, had 32.
But also been suspended in both the games. He's been suspended in both those games. Like,
the thing as well is they have a bye next week, so basically he'll have 2 weeks off.
Yeah, and he'll come back a little bit slow, maybe.
I think we'll move on pretty quickly from that. But well done to the Hawks. Probably going to wrap this game up in 10 seconds. The same amount of goals that Tex kicked. Crows won by 122 points at the Adelaide Oval. the bullies of the Adelaide Oval playing against, as what Tammy and Barrett likes to call them, the witches' hats, which amuses me because every week he mentions that. Did you watch this one, and what did you make of it, if anything?
I watched the tiniest bit, and I then watched the recap of Texas goals because that was the good part. And that's all I've got from it. Tex kicked 10. And
Tex,
that was it.
congratulations, Tex. 250 games, kicked 10 in that.
Beat West Coast by himself.
He did too. 10 goals, 2 to 8 goals,
2.
4. At one stage, before we get to the next game, they had Elliot Yeo, Dom Sheed,
Oscar Allen.
First gamer.
Oh, Ryan Marriage. They had every single fucking person playing on the guy.
It was almost like Tex Walker was a cone, and at training, and everyone had to eventually go to him.
Everyone had to take their turn and get to the cone, get a goal kicked on their head, and then go back.
Tex Cone Walker.
So,
Richmond defeated the Freo Dockers at Optus Stadium by 15 points in the wet. Probably another upset. But Andrew McWalter, or as Tom Brown likes to call him, like a Happy Meal, Mick Walter. Did you see that tweet?
I don't think so.
He spelled it McWalter.
Has he actually?
Has he actually? No, it was swiftly deleted, but someone sent me a screenshot.
Oh man, he's meant to be a journalist. Oh boy.
No, if you're not first, you're definitely not last. You're Mick last. Mick Walter.
Oh, Tommy boy, what are you doing?
Mick Walter.
Yeah, wow. No, that's that's not good.
He's well, ever since coming in, he's 2-1, won 2 close games. Obviously lost to Port as well. They've found a bit of touch, the old Tigers.
Yeah, that's the thing with Richmond. And I think I said it. I was like, we can never really count them out because they're always just going to be there. I actually watched pretty much the entirety of this game. Liam Baker had one of the best first quarters I've ever seen, and then I didn't see him go near it until like the last 5 minutes. so that was fun. But the end of the game was like, it was stressful. It was a good game, like, to watch. It got rain started coming down. But the skills didn't get too bad. Like, it actually stayed okay. Jai Amiss is really good, or Amos, whatever you want to call him. He's being really good for Freo. Luke Jackson is finding touch that is needed. Timmy Taranto is probably in the conversation of like top 5, top 10 players in the AFL right now. Ever since Kane Corn told him it was top 150, he's come out and dominated.
Yeah, but Kane wasn't wrong.
What?
He wasn't wrong. He's top 150.
He's top 15.
Correct.
Like, literally ever since Kane said that, Timmy's been on.
He would be top 5 Brownlow at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He, like, in his last 5 weeks or so, like, he's been pretty special. But yeah, 35-2. He's starting to get his skills a bit better. He's kicking getting a bit better. So he is starting to prove why he's probably like their most important player. While Tom Lynch is out, they need him to keep firing and in the midfield and keep kicking goals as well. That's the thing that he's added to his game that is like really good, is that he's a very good goal kicking midfielder. Like, he'll kick 1 or 2 a game, and that is what you need from a midfielder, and especially with a forward line without Tom Lynch. Like, you don't have that big centerpiece in your forward line. You need your midfielders to step up and kick more goals, and Timmy Taranto was doing that perfectly. So, very good.
Jaden Short as well popped up with 3, the most for the game for the Tigers. Had 398 metres gained. You know, I love my metres gained stat, JT. He had 398, and I reckon 300 of those was that one set shot he took from outside 50, because that ball was still going.
Bomb.
That thing launched.
Big bomb.
Launched. But this probably ends the Dockers' chances of a top 6 finish. I still think they're in the conversation for the top 8.
Yeah.
Although losing at home to the Tigers questions anything they had probably previous to this.
Yeah, like, Freo were one of those teams that started really poorly, picked up a bit of form in the middle, and have kind of gone down a little bit with this one. I still think, like, we'll sort of talk about it later. I still think the top 12 are like in that sort of fight for the top 8. Like, I think that's probably the the gap that I put it, like 12-1 is like the gonna shuffle kind of thing. But they're slightly falling down my worry. I'm a bit worried about Freo just because I think they need to win those games.
Yeah.
They
do.
And yeah, interesting.
Although I'll be like what I've done with Freo my whole life and just completely forgot about them.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Good stuff, Freo. North Melbourne took on the Giants down in Tassie in front of 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants did what we thought they would do. They won.
Yeah, this is that game where no one really is going to remember it because it was just one of those games where the Giants got out to a lead and then just held them there. And
A real stiff arm.
North were in it for a little bit. Yeah, like this was probably the stiff arm game. This North were in it for like 2.5 quarters, and then Giants started to sort of kick away a little bit. But yeah, the Giants are very good. He's a big call. Ooh. I remember in my bold predictions, like in some form, I think it might have been the Sanctum YouTube video. I said that Toby Green was going to kick 9 in the game. I think it was in some form of.
I think it was the Sanctum video.
Yeah, some form of prediction video that was done
against the Saints.
Yeah, I did say that. He might not kick 9 this year, but Toby Green is one of the best players in the AFL.
That's not a big call.
But I'm saying like he is getting up there with like Jeremy Cameron. Like he's like I'm saying like
cool.
I'm saying like
the full package kind of deal.
Yeah. Like he's not just like good at one thing. He's not just like the best in his position. He's not just the best ball getter. He's not just the best goal kicker. He is turning into that. If you wanted one player on your team to build a whole team around and you know that he's going to provide a job for you, you want Jeremy Cameron and you probably want Toby Green. They're probably the two right now.
It's funny because Toby Green is captain.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that stands out now. You got the big capital C right next to your name, Toby. And you're doing it phenomenally well.
He's doing very well with it. He's a big reason why that Giants team is like, and I say it every week, they're one of the better teams that are at the bottom of the ladder. Like the 14th place team, for a 14th place team, the Giants are very good. So like he's the reason that they are above Carlton right now, for one. Which we'll get to. But Toby Green is right up there with Jeremy Cameron for me as the player that if you wanted to build a team around, you're picking him.
Yeah, I'll write that. Should we talk about Carlton?
Let's talk about Carlton.
I've got something for you.
For me.
Did you know that sponsorship this week has changed for Carlton?
Oh,
so soft. Marshmallows. So squishy, so delicate.
Crumble under pressure.
In your life.
Oh, Carlton.
Under the heat. They've lost to the Bombers by 34 points.
That
a game where once again, Jared T. Thomas, they've kicked 6 goals, 16. 6 goals, 16. There's a virus going on at the moment. It's a pandemic at Carlton. It's not COVID. It's just they can't kick a fucking ball.
I don't know what's going on. Like this game, I think I could probably bring one player out of this game for Carlton that I would have like said played all right, and that's Adam Chera.
Yeah.
Everyone else can just like, do
you want me to get the marshmallows again? Yeah,
get the marshmallows. That probably perfectly describes it.
I reckon there's about 22 of them in here. 23, including the sub.
23, including Paddy Dow.
Including Paddy Dow. He's right at the bottom there.
Okay, what?
They're best before the 29th of Feb 2024. You might need a new packet next year, Carlton. You're already cooked.
You know what is the most damning stat on all? Like, you could look at all the stats and be like, geez, that's poor. You know what's the most damning one? Carlton had 33 tackles. Total.
33 tackles.
Put that into perspective, I remember a stat in the second quarter of the Saints game against Sydney, and we had 38.
Yeah, that's to have if a team to me these days has anything under 45, because I know some games can be quite open,
especially if you've got the ball a lot. Like
yeah.
that's
But the thing is, they had more of the ball,
but not by much.
By 20. But this is the damning thing. They had 200. So out of their 388 disposals, they had 201 kicks in 187 handballs. Essendon have gone 219 and 149 handballs. The kick to handball ratio is so dramatically different. And every time Carlton did have a kick, and if it was going towards goal, they shanked it so far left or right. I'm getting the picture back up.
There was so many out in the fools in this game. It was so weird. So I was there. And
really?
Yeah, that third quarter when it's like put this in perspective, right? We found Tori, listener, we found Brandon, also a listener. We found them, we said hi. We then were like, all right, walk back. I'll go to the toilet, we'll grab a beer. Everything will be fine. I go to the toilet, I walk out, I grab a beer. I look up at the screen, quarter's been played for 3 minutes. Essendon kicked 3 goals. What the fuck happened?
No.
It's like, how long was I in that fucking bathroom for? It was rough.
I don't know how to describe it.
And that's the thing as well. So we said Carlton can't play in big games.
They can't play in any game at the moment.
This is a big game, and it was a big moment. They were down by 3 points at halftime. Game in the balance. They'd kicked 3-10. They had to respond. What did they do? They had 7 goals kicked on in the next quarter and iced the game. There was not a chance they were coming back from 3/4 time or even halfway through the third quarter.
Everything went so Peter right for Essendon and went so completely wrong for Carlton.
And it's just what do you even change? I don't know what else there is to change anymore.
I don't know. And I've kind of just given up on them.
Yeah, their forwards are so down on confidence. Harry has no confidence at all in his own abilities. Charlie Kerner kicked 0-4 before he kicked anything.
Do you want to claim a bit of fame with that?
Oh, yeah. I picked pre-game, I said we shouldn't have Charlie Kerner for 4+ goals because he's a very good chance he kicks 4 behinds. And then I also said, but Langford as an anytime goal scorer is a good shout because that's what you said. And literally within the first half of the game, Charlie Kerner kicked 4 behinds and literally kicked a goal. And I was like, there we go.
Yeah. I'm glad I listened to you on that one.
Yeah, rough. But they're small forwards. Remember you said early in the year how Carlton don't have that small forward that's going to drag them up the table? You're right. They just don't.
They don't. They don't. And if any of their small forwards had a shot, they're missing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually got asked mid-game if there was any small forwards handy that Carlton could just borrow for a little while. I said, you can take Jade Gresham, that's fine. I don't think he's going to do much.
Well, I don't think that's making any of a difference.
Nah.
I love, and I look at small forwards. Port don't have one that's really effective. You have Rioli, you can kick goals.
Rioli does, yeah.
But they don't have that tough, small pressure forward. And you throw in that Powell Pepper or Jed McEntee. They don't have that.
Yeah. The issue with Carlton is they have 4 small forwards that are the exact same player. They have Motlop, Owies, Fisher, and Durden, who are all the same player and not very good. So it's what are you going to do about it?
Do you know, one other thing I did learn from this is that I hate Sunday night football.
Yeah, it's a weird experience. Yeah. But that's also because today feels like Sunday now.
Yeah.
Because it's gone the double.
True, but also...
Hey? A lot of people there.
Well, it was the 11th time this year there's been over 80,000 at the G.
And then the 12th today. Yeah,
which is a record, I believe.
I think it is. I think it was a record. Yeah, it was a record tied last night and then broken today, I think.
12th time this year that the AFL's had a crowd of over 80,000. And obviously it's only one bloody joint that you can do it. But
yeah. You know what's the issue?
Halfway through the year.
The issue with that is most of those games are Carlton games, which means Carlton fans are still showing up and Carlton are still producing that.
Full credit to Carlton fans then. I'm sorry.
Rough.
You have to go through that.
Rough go of it.
Sunday night. You're lucky it's a public holiday today, because if that was a normal day on a Monday, holy boy, I hope you got sick leave.
Well, the thing with Carlton fans as well is they are the most critical. Like, we don't really have to bag any of them because they just do it themselves. It's just like, that's just they hate the team. They hate Carlton more than anybody else hates Carlton. So it's like it's fine.
I can't believe that Gather Round was the start.
The start of the crumble. Yeah.
I won't see
That
many
was
of them
that.
next year.
That was that tweet that I put out where it was like that was my 8th Carlton game for the year. And the previous like 5 before it, whatever it was Melbourne, Sydney, Collingwood, Brisbane, Adelaide. Games where they just produced rubbish. And then another one, my 6th, like of my 8, the first 2 I went to the draw. And then I went to the Geelong game where they were good. And then the 6 since, they have been dreadful.
So maybe you should not go to Carlton games anymore.
Can't go to Carlton games anymore. Who are they playing? Oh, they're playing Gold Coast. I'm not going to. I'm not going to the Gold Coast game.
Actually, no, you should because we want to see the Suns win.
Well, that's true. What day is it on? Sunday. I'm not doing anything on Sunday.
Oh, hello.
But do I want to go and watch North versus the Dogs at Marvel?
You're not giving me much here, mate. That's not a lot to work with. I'm taking the bye.
I'm going to the Carlton game.
I might get blind.
What a Sunday of football that is.
We'll talk about that later. I've still got one to go here. I want to talk about one of the best games of the year so far. And Melbourne, Collingwood, the D's got up. Big freeze 9, a special day. Was one of the best. I think the Sliders were unbelievable. 8 goals, 18. Somehow won a game of football for the D's though.
Oh, this game screamed a Collingwood win at 3/4 time. Like the D's kicked a bunch of points. Pies were down. It screamed a Collingwood win. But Melbourne, to their credit, Melbourne's backline in that last quarter was outstanding. Like, unbelievable. Adam Tomlinson played probably his best game he's played in years.
He was phenomenal.
He was huge in that last quarter. Christian Salem, who they missed Melbourne, I think. Like,
yep.
He's been out. He missed a lot at the start of the year. They missed him because he is a really, really good rebounding defender. And he's an unreal kick for the football. Christian Salem. Like, he's very good. But Collingwood almost did it again.
Yeah, they did.
They got close.
The problem with that is as well was it was just almost the point where even with 30 seconds to go and you're 2 goals down, you're 2 goals up, and they brought it back within 4 points, obviously, but you're just sitting there and your heart's in your mouth, just like, if they kick 1 goal, like they're gonna do this.
When Dacos kicked that goal, I was like, holy fuck. It's happening. This cannot happen.
The thing as well, I think what got found out the most was Collingwood having no tools that really dominate up forward.
Yeah.
That for me just, I mean, not a lot of tools dominated today, but both defenses are pretty sound, and both forward lines pretty much don't have a great key forward that's going to really dominate.
And like they've got, so my thing with Collingwood is obviously Myercheck is very good, but when he's having an off day like he was today, they don't really have the firepower to then back it up. Like, you know, they've got Mason Cox, but he's not going to kick you 5 goals a game. You know, like they needed one of those forwards that, as much as it's bad, they really also needed the goalie. But you know, defended because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
But like they needed that forward that could, you know, pressure and like give them another goal or two, because they were missing it. They were missing goals is what they were missing. Like they needed to be able to kick more. They only kicked 9 goals for the game. Yeah.
So what you're saying is they were missing goals and they were probably missing one more.
Yes.
That was just really just set up for me.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that if the D's kicked 18 goals 8, they would have won by more?
Yeah, thanks, man. You just get the feeling.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. It was good to see Lipinski back though. He kicked 2. That was nice.
Our first inaugural Stupid Sexy AFL player.
Yeah, he was one of the OGs. First episode. He got injured at this time, but he's back. He's good.
Kicked 2, had 15. Looked good.
Very, very good. I heard it was his first like kick, because when he got injured, he didn't kick the ball last time. He like got injured before he even touched it last time in the practice game. It was his first kick of the ball since the prelim last year against Sydney.
Wow. That's
in like an
wild.
actual game. And it was like a goal straight away.
That's almost, that's unbelievable.
It's like first kick, first goal areas.
I
but
was
for a
just
player
thinking that.
First player that's missed a lot of games. It was good.
Congratulations, Lipper.
These are the real deal. I think they're proving themselves again.
Yes, and if you look at the ladder after round 13, a couple more rounds left with buys, the top 4, well, the top 2 are sort of separated from the rest. Equal top are the Pies and the Power.
Yeah.
The D's obviously sitting 3rd, the Lions 4th, equal with the Saints and the Bombers. And then you've got a nice sitting Crows and the Dogs. And then, you said top 12. So I'll mention the Cats, the Dockers, the Suns, and the Tigers rounding out in 12th. Everyone else below, I'm probably ruling out from here.
I think I am too. As much as I don't want to rule out the likes of Sydney and Carlton, I think Carlton's pretty much cooked. And Sydney are one of those teams that they very well could win like their next 10, but I don't think they will. I think they're probably going to leave it too late to fight back into it. And
I like that.
Yeah.
So well done, everyone, for round 13. It was sensational.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate 5 days of footy. It sucks. Like that. I don't know. Anyway,
this was weird scheduling. When you put a Monday game, like I love Thursday night footy as much as the next person, but you can't have a Thursday night game and a Monday night game. It just spreads everything too thin, and you don't get enough on the days.
Too thin or too thin? Yeah, okay.
Spreads everyone too thin. It's fine. Like, I could have used another Saturday game, or I could have used, the 3 on the Sunday.
2 on a Sunday, just no.
Doesn't feel right, does it? When the first game starts at 3:20, it's like,
2:50.
We're not having this.
Is that the next poll?
What's the real time?
How pointless is that? Imagine someone asking, like someone in the UK, just like, is it 2:50 or 3:20? Nah, champ, it's like 11:30.
All right.
I don't fucking know. Should we do our renaming AFL team segment?
Let's do it.
All right. This is where we're renaming AFL teams just because we think it's funny.
Yep. And because Dwayne Russell made a good one that one time when we went, that's cool.
Yeah, Dwayne Russell, thank you very much for the inspiration behind naming every single AFL team. This week, we've got 4 teams that we're naming. The Cats, the Eagles, the Blues, and the Swans. Do you want to kick us off with the Swans?
I will kick us off with the Swans. This is one of those ones where it's like naming like a region. It's just like another name for that region kind of thing. So if we didn't want to go Sydney, I could be a prick here and go South Melbourne.
Not only are you naming a region, you're relocating the pricks.
We're bringing them back. Because the AFL doesn't have enough Victorian teams, apparently.
We're going back to 10.
We're going back. I could say South Melbourne, that's funny. But I'm going to go with just...
Sydney.
I'm just going to go with the Harbour City Swans. It just makes sense. Sydney Harbour. If you don't want to call them Sydney, you can just call them the Harbour City Swans. And that's an easy one. Or South Melbourne.
The Harbour City Swans.
Yeah, nice.
I like that. I'll go to the Eagles. I haven't changed too much here. I think I don't mind the name West Coast as a whole. It's real region, American vibes. Like, I'm going on to the West Coast.
Yeah.
This weekend. But I still like the idea of Eagles. I like the Birds in the AFL. So I've gone with the Western Flyers.
Ooh.
And they also
sounds
fly
like a basketball
team.
Sounds like a basketball team, the Western Flyers.
Yeah. Western Flyers, or the Wednesday night volleyball team that you play.
Domestic under 21s. Just a random C-grade team you play.
The Western Flyers.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Where are they sitting? About 6th.
Mid-table. Not very good, not very shit. It's fine.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes
Sometimes
maybe
maybe shit. Oh dear.
yeah, there was real no inspiration behind that other than
Eagles.
fly west.
Makes sense. Wow.
Carlton.
Carlton.
Here we go.
Now,
I'm
there
glad
was a
you went
few-
Carlton because you're a simp for them.
Simp for Carlton.
And the fans
Well,
love
actually, right. So I picked Carlton,
you.
but then as soon as I picked him, I was like, fuck, this is actually kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I didn't know what to do. The one that I was thinking of is the name, like the original name of their VFL, which is the Northern Blues, which is also the Northern Bullets. The Northern Blues, which is also the Northern Suns. Like I get that. Like you can't have both. So that's
Yeah.
if we weren't including Gold, if we were only changing one name and Gold Coast stayed as Gold Coast, the Northern Blues is probably the one. But it's also I wanted to do something like with the north of Melbourne because that's kind of like they own a lot of that other than North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Like and
Right
North
up.
Melbourne, let's rate it here. North Melbourne, pretty irrelevant. It's not massive.
Just gonna pot shot north as I go.
Carlton could just take over all of that. From the Northern Blues. Or you call them the Northern Bull Ants and really just fucking fuck around with them because that's the
Bull
VFL
Ants.
where it was the Northern Bull Ants and then they changed it to Northern Blues. So Northern Bull Ants is a good idea.
Northern Blue Ants.
Northern Bull Ants. Oh, Northern Bull Ants. That's nice actually. Or you call them Preston and really just confuse the shit out of everybody because there's a lot going on in that area. But yeah, Northern Blues is probably my deal.
You're going
Yeah.
Northern Blues. Just bringing it back.
Northern Blues, yeah.
All right, Northern Blues. Real research there.
Yeah, Carlton was rough. That was a hard one to do.
Well, although I gave you the options and you went that. It's all right. It is what it is. Northern Blues is in the books.
Oh, hang on. Receipts here. I'm going to pull out the receipts. I said I'll pick the interstate team, and I picked. I caught you. Fuck. I said I'll pick the interstate team, and I'll pick Sydney, and you pick the Victoria team, and you picked Geelong and left me with Carlton. It's just what you fuck. Didn't you come to me saying I picked them?
I'll drink to that.
I knew it. I knew there was something wrong.
Oh boy, I've been caught. Sometimes I like setting up the tee with the ball and just let you swing.
I fucking did too.
I went with Geelong for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I've done a bit of research. I wanted to go and dive into Geelong. You know, it's a lot of players seem to come from there. You know, Torquay as well is around the corner, and Travis Boak is from Torquay.
Talking
But I'm not going to bring Torquay into this. I just wanted to bring up Travis.
I was
Boak.
going to say, you're going to call them the Torquay Cats because that's kind of funny.
I don't mind that actually.
Not too
Anyway.
bad. Sounds good when you say it. Anyway, yeah.
So they call Geelong. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've done a bit of research. They call Geelong the gateway city because it's the connector between the south of and everything. You know, it connects people and it's the gateway to coming in and going out to. I don't know. And apparently there was a gold rush as well in the 1800s.
Oh,
This definitely is sponsored by Wikipedia.
yeah, absolutely.
So I've decided that I've combined the two and called them the Gateway City Gold.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Gateway City Gold.
the Golds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is not what I thought you were going to come up with. I like that though.
Yeah.
For someone that doesn't live in Victoria, you do it's a good research.
Yeah,
the
I
Cats.
told you I couldn't give a shit about the Western Flyers, but I did the
Yeah.
Gateway City Gold, and I
Gold.
just there's something about it. Using
I like
something
that
that's
a
a bit
lot.
different, like no one's named Silver or stuff like that,
Yeah.
medals and stuff. So I thought Gateway City Gold.
City Gold. I like that a lot. Huh.
Interesting. I've stumped you.
Yeah, you've absolutely got me. I did not expect that at all, but it's good. It's very good.
Thank you. So we'll come up with 4 next week as well, and as we get through the buys, we'll complete the last. I think there's 8 or 9 to go. So we'd love to know everyone's thoughts. and
Yes.
we'll chime in with that. But overall, yeah, that's our 4 this week. And
There we go.
I think, I don't know about you, Jared, but I think speaking of people's thoughts, we should go around the glass table.
We should go around the glass table. We had a good one this week.
What did we do this week? I've completely forgotten.
This one was the home and away matches. Everyone's favorite home and away matches of all time. Now, I didn't specify whether or not they wanted it to be there or not. I just said your favorite home and away match that you can think of in your head. That's fine. My one. In terms of a Saints one, my Saints one is round 13 or round 14, 2009. Saints versus Geelong. Both teams undefeated coming into it. It's arguably the best home and away game ever. Like, it lived up to every billing it had. Gardner takes a mark in the last, that whole thing was great. But in terms of the best one that I've been to as a neutral, it was Carlton Collingwood last year. Round 23, everything built to this moment. The Dogs had just won, which meant that Carlton had to win or draw to get into the 8, and Collingwood just had to win to make top 4, I think it was, or whatever it was anyway. That game, I was just riding every single high that both sides, Motlop kicked the goal in the 3rd, I lost my shit. McCreary kicked that goal in the last, I lost my shit even more. I'm sitting in between my sister and my brother-in-law, one's Collingwood, one's Carlton. There's 90 how many thousand people there. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect game of football. And, there's people crying around me and I'm just sitting in the middle just losing my shit. Awesome. What is yours? Do you have an idea?
I'll do my AFL one first because with Port there was a few. So the AFL one that I think just stands out, and I think the commentary is iconic from every angle. It has to be Anzac Day, Zaharakis winner.
Yep.
That's in the wet. It's just teeming down, or as BT says, absolutely pissing down at the G.
Pissing down. Yeah.
For me, that's just a young kid at the time kicking a winner.
Made his name.
It was just superb. And you could name a few others, but just me, it's a big day, big occasion. And watching that, I still remember the day. I was at a mate's house and just
yeah, I remember where I was too. Yeah,
that's football.
Unbelievable. That was one of the better. It's not just one of the best moments ever. That whole game leading up to the end is just incredible. And Anzac Day is always like that. Anzac Day is always just such a good game.
I think that also probably pinpointed Anzac Day as one of the best games of the year. And it sort of set up the rest to be just as iconic.
And it made it one of those times where no matter where Collingwood and Essendon were at the time on the ladder, anybody could win this game. It was just because it's still early in the year as well. That's another thing. It's still early. No one really knows what each team is properly like yet. It's so good because they're so just mad ball the whole time. Anzac Day game this year was amazing. Collingwood came back again. That game built the tradition, I think.
Yeah, definitely. For Port Adelaide wise, a lot of people will say, round 17 against the Saints or the showdown with Motlop. I sort of wanted to go with something that I think stood out for me. And it wasn't round 11, round 24, 2011. We played at Adelaide Oval for the first time ever. That was a great game. I fucking bawled my eyes out because we didn't finish. We're going to finish with the spoon for the year, but we won the game and didn't end up being wooden spoon. That's an honourable mention.
Yeah.
Round 8, 2009. We played the Tigers at Amy Stadium.
I think I know what this one is.
Treadrace kicked 7 in the wet.
Yeah, the real
in his
wet
aging career. It was pissing down.
Yeah,
sitting there and watching him kick 7. He kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, and he kicked 7 for the match. Kicked the winner with a minute to go, and then went down the other end and took the winning mark. For me, that's just watching a guy that I grew up watching. Loved him, idolized him.
Yeah.
To go watch probably his finest hour in his career. That was the last probably best game he played.
Career. Yeah.
Well, the next year retired because of injury.
Yeah.
For me, I cried after that game. This is a round 8 2009 game against the Tigers.
Middle of the year in 2009. Both teams just going along.
I think we were sitting 5-3.
I was going to say, both teams just chugging along as they do.
It's round 8, and I'm, what am I, 12 years old? And I'm crying. So that stands out for me. But I think we should see what other people have to say.
Yes, certainly. I was going to say with Port, my favorite Port game is that Motlop, the one that you mentioned before, the showdown, where it's the water time and it's that to me is like the ideal Port Adelaide game.
All right. Am I going to have to pick a St Kilda game? Am I?
I was just saying when you said the Motlop one, I was like, that was the one I thought you were going to go with because it's my one. Like, I just love that Port Adelaide game.
No, dude, being there, that was hot.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Unbelievable.
I'll do the people and I'll come up with a St Kilda one.
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to go Streb, Hawthorn versus Essendon round 2018. Hawthorn against their old enemy chasing a top four berth. I remember this game. James Warple had his like career moment. He gets home, slams the winner, beats the side. I remember that game because I remember people being like, James Warple is going to be, a superstar, and he had that really good year, and he, one of the best fairest, and then now we know what happened to James Warple. But yeah, very good game. One for you?
CB Cam Bruce agrees with me on the Zaharakis winner, so I'm glad someone else went there. I'll go with I'll do a bit of Port stuff as well. Bailey Manuel, round 4, 2015. Port played the back-to-back premiers, the Hawks. It was Anzac round. We kicked 8-1 in the first quarter. The Avalanche, that was. And I remember that game because in the end we were 55 points up and ended up winning by 8.
Oh boy!
Heart attack.
Oh boy!
But no, that was a good game.
Yep, understandable. We got Brandon here. This is a good one as well. Carlton versus Richmond in round 1 last year. So that was when people were like, "Are Carlton going to be any good?" Doc was back for his first game after his cancer diagnosis, and he kicked the goal. I remember exactly what I was doing. I was laying in my bed just through these doors. I was laying in my bed. I watched that last quarter when Carlton knew that the game was sort of beyond doubt. Watching the Carlton fans get up and lose their mind, I was like, "Holy shit, football is back!" Football is here. Because I remember Melbourne and Dogs had played the day before, and it wasn't that good. It was kind of just there wasn't that many people there. It was just a whatever game. The only good thing about it was the Luke Beveridge presser at the end. The Carlton Richmond game made me be like, "Football is back," because it was such a good game to watch. Doc Ole is still unbelievable to watch as well. Yeah, that was a good game. Good game of footy.
Yeah, I rated that. G's come in with the Easter Monday last year. Again, no one giving the Hawks a chance, and they ended up in the wet, I'm pretty sure, kicking a winning score. Mitch Lewis, obviously, in the open goal, giving it to the Cats boys. Sending it 20 rows back, he says. So that was Easter Monday, another one that's iconic that just seems to produce. Not this year, but other years.
No, not this year at all.
I'm not talking about this year.
No, Easter Monday is another one of those ones where it's like no matter where both teams are, it's like Hawthorn are always going to be a chance against a strong Cats team or whatever the go is. This one from William, round 19, Tigers versus Eagles at the G. Needed to win to make the top 4. Then by 5 goals halfway through the second, clawed it back. Jack kicked the winner in the rain. Just unbelievable stuff. That is peak Tigers though. That is Tigers just grit and just being able to just push through it. And just Jack Rewalt and Dustin Martin doing what he does, and just Tigers being good. That is what that is.
I like when the Tigers are good.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, aren't they? It's really annoying.
Any more others you see?
Corey's gone. I can't say I know what this game is, but Tory's gone 2008, round 11 against Port. I don't know what game that is though. It was at Amy Stadium. So,
what's your fucking point?
I don't know what game it is.
Well, not clicking on the link.
Okay.
You know what annoys me about that? Not only the fact that we lost, but it's 10-15 to 8-15. What's with 15 points?
Oh boy. Classic.
Anyway, I'm going to move on, I think.
Someone here just on a reply to a different one. So there was Adelaide versus North Melbourne in 1993 when Modric kicked 10 and Kerry kicked 7. That's obviously a good one. Both teams scored over 130. Someone then replied to that being 2013 Adelaide versus North. That was that game that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago where it was a Sunday at 3:20 and it was one of those really good Sunday 3:20 games. Yeah, that was that's one of those ones that sticks out in my mind. Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's the game I was talking about how many weeks when we talked about that Sunday 3:20 slot.
I can't come up with a St Kilda one, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Other than the 2009 one.
That one's probably, that stands out. Like the Michael Gardner.
Another one for me, even though it was I don't even know how good of a game it was, but I remember we were down by 50 odd points to the Dogs early in the third quarter. And Jack Billings was 20 at the time, and he kicked 4 in like the last half.
Yes,
and won us again.
no, yes, I remember it. Yeah.
That sticks out in my mind because I don't even know how good of a game it was, but that second half, man. Oh,
That's the thing,
we're
though,
now like in stripes. Yeah.
How do you describe a good game? Like, is it
That's the
a
thing,
full sort of thing, or is it like it's got to be this
it's completely
game
like
close finish?
it's completely up to anybody's discretion on what they think is a good game. Like, any of these games could be bad, but it's just what we felt at the time. Like, even if Carlton Collingwood was so bad up until the end of that game, I still would probably have it as my favorite because, like, having the crowd there and like everything, like I would have just built everything together. So it's just who knows, to be honest.
I do like a good game.
Good game of footy, so good. A
Sometimes
good neutral
when-
game of footy.
Yeah, like when you watch a neutral game of footy, it's just like you're watching the two teams and they're really dominating.
Yeah, they're both like playing top of their game, and you're like, this is fucking watch.
It's kind of sexy.
Sorry, face. I could see the gears ticking. She did that.
Yeah. Do you know what else is sexy?
Probably some AFL players, I'd say.
I'm so glad you're joining in. Yeah, you know what we could do that we can combine the two.
Yeah.
We should have a segment and call it stupid sexy AFL players.
Play the music.
Stupid sexy.
AFL players.
All right, stupid sexy AFL players time. This is the time of the episode where we decide to go through each AFL player and see if they're sexy or not, and then we pick out one each, and we judge them purely based on how good looking and arousing they make us compared to what their football ability is.
Yes.
When saying that, do you have one this week?
I do have one this week. This is a player. Thought I'd already picked him, but I hadn't.
Oh, I knew
I think the reason that I didn't pick him, I think I had already picked too many players from this team, and I was like, I feel like I'm doubling up. Like, I feel like I'm doing too much. I'm going back to Collingwood.
Oh, God.
So what have we had from Collingwood? We've had Lipinski, we've had the Dacos brothers. What we've had?
You're getting to the point
It's all
where you're almost like me with Port.
Yeah, I just pick a lot of Collingwoods next time.
It's
But
kind
I'm
of
going with another
concerning,
one.
but
Yeah,
also, fair play.
you can choose. I'm going with another one from Collingwood. I thought I already picked him. Clearly, I hadn't. Isaac Quainer is.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. See, I know exactly where you've got this today.
No. I have been on Isaac Quainer's.
No,
He's been on my radar
You've
for a
been
while.
on where?
Yeah, let's not go back to that. He's been on my radar for a while. He has. He's been on my radar for a while. You did send that message today being like, Isaac Quainer is stupid sexy. And I went, yeah, he is, actually. And then that was when you sent that message, I went, oh, yeah, he is. And I clicked on like the photo thing that you sent of like all the photos. I was like, no one's picked him yet. I was like, fuck, I thought I already picked him. And also with Isaac as well, I thought today was probably his best game for the year because he was pretty good today, Isaac. He had a lot of good moments in like that third quarter, like defensively. So I personally don't think he's that amazing of a footballer. I think he's okay. But he's good looking, and that's all that matters.
The pink boots.
Sorry, I'm gonna let you keep going. I'll do it after. Sorry.
No, go for it. No, the floor's yours. You can't do that and then not follow it up.
I just want to let it be known to everybody. The guy comes up to me last night as I was sitting at the Swan Hotel in Richmond and says something about where I'm sitting, being like, oh, you got a good spot? And I was like, yeah, man, cheers. Then he looks at me, looks away, looks back and goes, you look like Liam Sturgeon. And I tell you what, my fucking self-esteem went right the fuck out.
This episode proudly brought to you by Ticket Tech. It's where all the tickets for JT come through. And guess what? They're already sold out.
It's not even me this time. It's a random guy in Richmond.
How much did you pay him?
I could not have paid for that kind of exposure. That was gorgeous. And then he said something about tell Dan Butler that he was stiff or something. And I was like, does he actually think that I'm Liam Stocker?
Oh my God.
Like,
if he's actually thought you were Liam Stocker.
Where he thought because I never said like like no or like oh thanks or anything. Like I just kind of laughed, and then he went, "Oh damn Butler," and I was like, "Hey."
Did you like show him your legs?
I was like, "Look at, I haven't got those shitty tattoos on my hamstring."
Boy, now we're pop shotting tattoos.
I'm back.
Now, I'm going to bring things in order because tickets. I have a thing for players over 30. Don't look at me like that. I'm getting
It's a really weird way to start this.
well, you know, Travis Boak's over 30,
okay, yeah.
and he is the pinnacle of.
You yelled at me for picking Luke Bruce the other week.
If that's just stupid.
Was
It's
just man.
stupid. Yeah, but like you pick someone over 30 and you compare it to Boak, it's almost just like,
What's the point?
why'd you pick a foot?
Go on then.
No disrespect, Luke Bruce. I still don't know why people boo you, but anyway, this bloke plays for GWS and probably been overlooked a little bit. And he deserves an award for being Callan Ward.
Yeah,
just that professionalism.
He's that rugged. He's like the Canelio. Like he's the
like he's just
rugged man.
Maybe he's got a bit of hair like you.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like you, but he's just that wavering hair that everyone seems to fall in love with. I can't really talk about that, but yeah, you know, he's just like a fine wine at the moment, old Woody.
Yeah, and he's playing good footy again too. Like he's still playing good footy.
We spoke about how players are like keeping GWS intact at the moment. He's doing a very fine job, just roaming through the old midfield there, old Callan Ward.
Exactly. You know, he's still like he's one of those players that I thought was going to fall off like 2-3 years ago, and he just keeps coming back and keeps playing good footy, and it's like, all right, you keep doing it.
He's a tantalising figure, the old Callan.
Absolutely.
Ward. We do tips.
Let's do the tips.
All right, round 14 tips. This round is probably the shortest of the lot in terms of buys. Only 6 games to get through. Once again, we have Thursday night football. It's at the Adelaide Oval. It's Port Adelaide taking on the Cats. Who are you tipping?
I have also, before I pick who I'm going to pick, I've determined that if you put Port Adelaide in a prime time slot, Thursday night or a Friday night or probably Saturday night, you're likely to get a good game of football. So thank you, AFL, for putting Port Adelaide on this Thursday night, because Thursday nights need some help.
Oh, do you know what the funny
They've not
thing
been very
was?
good.
I tweeted out when Carlton were playing that I think every primetime slot Carlton should have that have had Port Adelaide get next year.
Yep, I would agree, because Port Adelaide's games have been good in the primetime slots, and they're playing Geelong, who are also good. So this game is going to be fun, and I'm tipping Port.
Ditto.
Yeah,
fair. At home too. Well, I'll tell you what, Port Adelaide got this done. Going to the bye, 11 wins in a row. I haven't mentioned that. The streak's on, by the way. How good's the streak? Travis spoke about it.
Boy.
I didn't really get a chance to brag, but boy, oh boy.
Hello.
How good's winning? Winning is sexy.
Winning is fun.
Couldn't say the same for Carlton. The Lions take on the Swans.
Again, if this was the other way around, I'm tipping the Swans to hell and high water. But because it's the Gabba, Brisbane's probably going to win by like 60. So, Brisbane.
All right. GWS Freo. Oh, no. Why do I have a feeling?
I'm going to tip the Giants.
I'm tipping Freo.
Yeah, okay. I get that. Like, I get why. It's like the game where people are like, maybe the Giants will be okay in this one. And then they're going to like really fuck it up somehow.
With Sean Darcy back in.
I'll do it. Also, Smiley, 2 games of football on Saturday. The first game, okay, 4:35 or 4:05, depending on where you live in this country, or Perth. No, whatever. They don't count.
Good morning.
4:35 or 4:05. That is ridiculous.
Nah,
Give me my 1:45 game.
Yes, no, I agree, but also I disagree, because this is a good chance for people to get out to the local footy, watch your games, and then you can go off. No one's watching GWS Freo anyway.
Now they will, though. So
they will, but like no one's watching it anyway. There's gonna be
But it's not
4,000 people.
it's not good for me, who like I just wake up on a Saturday, and now I have to wait until 4:35 for a football game.
I'll send you the link and you can watch me.
That'll do. I'll take it.
All right. Your mob: Tigers versus the Saints.
Ooh.
Is this at the G?
This is at the G.
I
I think I might be going to this. I don't actually know yet.
think you should.
Going to be a good game of football, I think. We tend to be Richmond, like we play Richmond twice every year, and we always tend to beat them at least once, and we always tend to beat them first. What it usually is we beat them the first time we play them, and then we play them later in the year and they beat us. So I'm going to tip us, because I also think we're in some form, the minutes, and Richmond are also in form. And I just think we're just a little bit better than them right now. And again, like I said, we drag them down, and I think Richmond, if you drag them down, they really struggle to break through, like eventually, and they struggle to hold and like keep their structure and things like that. So I feel like if we can break them down like we do the other teams, it's gonna be fine. I think Cal Wilkie's gonna have a very good game. I'm gonna tip us.
All right, this is tough.
Tough game. A lot of these are tough this week.
Oh, they're also terrible. Majority of them.
Oh yeah.
The Saints. I just think this is probably season defining.
Yeah, I think we win this. Like at the moment, it's like we're on the march to finals, but it's like there's, we could lose a bunch of games and fall out. I think we win this. I think we hold ourselves pretty firm. We keep in touch with that top four of like Brisbane and stuff, and we'll be fine. Because we're also like, we're on the same amount of points as Essendon, but we've played one less game. Essendon have their bye. We can get this win, go one game above, and really keep sort of in touch with the top half of the 8 rather than the bottom half of the 8. That's what I'm hoping we can do here. So if we win this, I think we're well on track for finals. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Speaking of an 8-point game, or a 0-point game if you're a Blues fan. Carlton versus the Suns. Sunday Arvo football at the G. Is it the G? It's at the G.
It is the G. Now, we said before how of the 12 home and away games, most of them have been Carlton that have the 80 plus. If this gets like 50, I'll be. There's going to be no one at this game. I have already spoken to a lot of Carlton fans that are not going to this game.
Don't blame them.
Either for whatever commitment or just being like, I am sick and tired of this game. And obviously we know Gold Coast don't have a big tennis stand in Victoria or anywhere really, but like especially Victoria. So I don't think there's going to be many people at this game, and I am going to tip Gold Coast.
I'm tipping the Gold Coast Suns too. This is probably the difference. This is probably the difference. This is a game. Yeah, okay, Carlton, if they win, this is a bounce back game. But for me, this is more important for the Suns.
Yeah, they need this.
They become that key threat. And for 26 years of my life, I've been alive for. I've seen a lot of football games in my time. And every single time I see this game scheduled at Marvel on 4:10 on a Sunday, I think, well, rather no football at all. It's North Melbourne taking on the Dogs. And I tip the Dogs.
I'm also tipping the Dogs. Every time I think of this game, I just think of Josh Bruce kicking 10. So
every time I think of this game, I think 5,000 people there.
Every time I think of this game, I think, gee, that's a good nap.
Every time I think of this game, I think, oh, Sunday sesh.
I gotta sleep early.
Should we record
next
week's episode at 4 o'clock?
Just about to say, should we record the next game before next episode before the North? So I can have an early bedtime.
Well, I think, yeah. So just for recapping that, the Pies this week, the Crows, the Pies, the Hawks, the Dons, the D's, and the Eagles have a rest.
Tough game for the Eagles.
It's a matchup set to thrill.
The matchup between Rhett Bazzo and no one looks set to thrill.
Oscar Allen is going up into a contest against no one.
Against no one.
I can't wait for the Brownlow votes for this game. N01, 3 votes.
Bailey Williams loses the rucky contest to no one.
Somehow this game would still have fucking more points than goals. The goal kicking of the set shots of this game would be fucking terrible.
Oh, Lord.
Have you seen the odds?
It's pretty even.
It's $1.90 each.
Big game. Season defining.
They've got a big in the buy. See space. Clear space. Really look forward to what the posting pads do in this one. This is a game where goal umpires surely couldn't fuck up.
You'd think they couldn't fuck up this week. You'd think, right? And yet.
I'm not going to rev you up at all for that one.
No, I don't want to do it again.
It drains you.
Took too much time last time. And the umpires, nothing's going to change. The AFL hates me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did abuse their employees.
Oops.
That's round 14, and I think we're just about done.
Yeah, that's it. There we go.
So, do we end it, or?
I don't know how to do that these days. I think we
Oh,
set
we
up
figured
fading out.
We've figured out that over the last few weeks.
That we just kind of just keep talking until the recording stops.
Waiting for the button to be pressed.
Follow us on all the socials and stuff.
Yeah. Righto. Rock on.
Rock on.
Yeah, rock on the glass table.
Yeah.